What's up, y'all? It's D about to react to this vid. It's titled The Big Names in the New Epstein Files. This guy is funny. I discovered him on TikTok when he was talking about the illegal veneer tech who was illegally putting veneers on people, and he had no license of any kind. Okay, he was not a dentist. He was just out here just advertising stuff on Instagram, and people was paying him to put veneers on their teeth, and he was really funny covering that, so that's how I know him. But anyway, someone sent me this to check out, so let's see what he got to say about the new Epstein files. Let's watch.
All right, let's talk about the Epi files, namely the big names that you probably know that are in the documents. Donald Trump, of course, in the documents. William Gates, aka Bill Gates. Elon Musk. Jay-Z. Pusha T. And then we're going to talk about some dude named Howard that's named in the documents. You probably don't know him, but you will after this. But first, to understand all of this, what you have to know is the Department of Justice under Donald Trump had a problem. You see, United States Congress passed a law saying, y'all got to release those files. The Department of Justice said, all the files? Congress said, yeah. Did I stutter? So after a bunch of stalling, the Department of Justice said, okay, look, here's half the documents, and that's what you got. Those were the files that were recently released. 3 million pages out of 6 million pages. Congress said, didn't we say release all the documents? The Department of Justice excuse was they're trying to protect victims. I'm not even going to insult you with the Department of Justice reasons for not releasing the other half of the file.
Sketchy.
But let's just say Congress is apparently trying to get the rest of the files released. But in this half of the files, like we said earlier, you got some big names, starting with Elon. Now remember, Elon Musk said, I ain't never spoke to that dude Epstein. He tried to invite me to the island. I said, no. Donald Trump, though, y'all should check on that. Well, turns out, in the files, there is email correspondence between Elon and Jeff Epstein. Elon basically saying, yo, when can I fall through?
I don't trust this man. Listen, you got a Tesla, I'm judging you, because this man is a goofy and he's a white supremacist and he's disgusting. Okay, I saw his tweet about how white people need to stick together. They trying to take us out. So he on some weird shit. So And do I got Tesla stock? No, I did sell it all. I might swing trade with it still, but it's still fucking
island. When can I pull up? Elon emailing him year after year. And this is after it came out that Jeff Epstein was committing those heinous crimes. And I want you to take special note of that, because here's a side note. Jeff Epstein, around 2005, that's when it came out that he was committing heinous acts. That's when you see a bunch of billionaires and politicians come out and say, oh, that's when I stopped talking to him. 2005, 2008, that's when I cut him off. But again, Elon hitting him up like 2012 saying, yo, it's Christmas time. Can I come to? Elon saying this. The wildest parties you got? What's the wildest parties you got? He said, me and my wife, his wife at the time, trying to pull up. And what's kind of embarrassing, when Elon last messaged Jeff Epstein, Elon was like, yo, man, can't wait. Is the heli coming? Like, Jeff Epstein responded to him saying, look, man, I'm not going to be at the island this year. Like, you can't come. I'm going to be in New York. Boy got rejected by a weirdo. Elon, tripping. And speaking of tripping, let's talk about William. I've been told y'all about William. So according to the files, Jeff Epstein is basically like drafting an email to himself detailing the stuff about William Gates, saying William Gates messes with Russian girls. He's stepping out on his wife with these Russian girls. And with these Russian girls, he got a disease, which he then gave to his wife. And now he wants Jeff Epstein to give antibiotics to his wife secretly. And he said the whole time Bill Gates over here, tears in his eyes, trying to beg me this and that. Boy, stop it. If you can cry, you can walk to the bank. Because the only way I ain't telling nobody about this is if you give me a house. Jeff Epstein, side note, loved him some blackmail. Now, mind you, Bill Gates denies all this stuff. Elon Musk denies this stuff. But it's kind of tough to deny because these are emails that the FBI acquired. Now, here's why I said that, because here's where things start to get wicked. What I just told you about Bill Gates and Elon Musk is regarding what they found in Jeffrey Epstein's emails. But Donald Trump, Pusha T, and Jay-Z, who we're about to talk about right now, they don't show up in emails. They show up in allegations. Basically, people coming out and saying, yo, I saw Donald Trump, Jay-Z, Pusha T doing this. I saw them when I went to this party and that party. Donald Trump shows up a lot. People detailing in graphic account what they were told to do with Donald Trump. People detailing the fact that Donald Trump had wild parties of his own. As for Pusha T and Jay-Z, it's a similar situation. But as far as we know, they show up one time in the files, with one accuser saying 1994 she saw Jay-Z at a party, Harvey Weinstein was there, and they both... And how they got to these parties in the first place is because of people like Pusha T, who the accuser called a handler. They go on to say Pusha T would give them stuff to make them really sleepy, and then they would wake up at these...
That makes sense, because they do rap about how they were selling drugs. I'm saying it makes sense. I'm not saying it's true. I don't know these people, but just saying. Because, again, that was another conversation about how would Jay-Z be around these powerful people? He wasn't popping like that back then. He had enough buzz, okay? He had a little bit of buzz. His album had just come out. And he was a big-time drug dealer, so...
Parties. Now, besides all the big names I mentioned to you, there are plenty of other names in these files. Many people in Donald Trump's inner circle, politicians alike. But there's one politician I want to highlight for you, and that's Howard Lutnik, your Secretary of Commerce. You see, he was Jeff Epstein's next door neighbor. So a few years back, I guess he felt like he had to explain himself. So he goes on and does an interview. This is when it was all popping about Jeff Epstein. He came out and said, look, all that stuff about Jeff Epstein in the news, just because I was his neighbor, let me start by saying I got nothing to do with it. And when I tell you, he was being this boy should be an actor. Boy should get an Oscar, because he was furious that his name was even mentioned in the same sentence. He said, don't mention my name with that man. The interviewer said, you serious? He said, damn straight. He said, let me tell y'all something. I went over to introduce myself to Jeff Epstein. Me and my wife was there. We knocked on the door. We said, hello? Boom. Jeff Epstein opened the door. We said, hey. We saw a massage table in the middle of the room. That was weird. So we said, Jeff Epps, you like getting massages or something? Jeff Epps leans over and says, I love massages, but he was weird with it. Like, we thought it was weird, me and my wife. And then we said, okay, Jeff, we're going to leave. We looked at each other and we promised we would never be in the same room with Jeff Epps again. They found him in the files. They found out with Howard in the files emailing Jeff Epps saying, when can I pull up? When can I pull up to the island? Matter of fact, dude's wife was emailing Jeff Epps too. Just in case you didn't get our last message, can we pull up? We finna bring our friends Mary and Matthew. They named them too. They said they trying to bring the whole fam. Can we pull up? I was guffawed when I tell you in his interview how passionate he was. And I said earlier he should win an Oscar, but honestly, maybe he was a little too passionate in the interview. Like, he not Denzel, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know when somebody puts on a little too much fire? That's what I felt like, my opinion, in the interview Howard was doing. So I wasn't surprised to see his name listed in those emails. So what comes next? Well, the crazy part to me is these were, again...
His concealer is too light. He needs... Who's ever given him makeup to help with his bags, they need to color match him properly, because this ain't it.
Half of the files. So the half that they didn't want to show you, ooh, it must be bad. And what it seems like is the Department of Justice is trying to say, look, we gave you half of the files. They're pretty big, right? So just leave us alone. I'm genuinely curious to know if that would work. It seems like people want it all, so let's just wait and see. Side note, if y'all remember, the FBI under Donald Trump came out earlier and said there ain't no names on the file. Y'all just imagining things. There's no list. Well, we're here now. And it seems like there was a list, so somebody's lying. And to go further, just remember, files mean nothing if people aren't brought to justice. I'm curious to see what happens next. Like, there's this information, but if nobody is pursuing, no government organization...
I don't think this is enough. I don't think it's enough evidence to have anybody go to jail. I think they need more.
Is pursuing this information... Then what do? We just look at the files, these people did all this, and then we just move on? Well, I think the American people are past that point, and I think I can speak for everyone when I say we demand justice. Now, this is just the first look over people have had over these documents. Remember, it's millions upon millions of pages. So when more information comes out, then I'll be sure to let you know.
But yeah, I don't think they have enough to convict anyone. That's the issue. But it doesn't mean that they won't acquire enough to convict. But for now, it's like, okay, we got emails and we got people saying they wanted to go to the parties, and we have people, submitting statements and allegations, but there's no real proof that we know of at the moment. It's just a whole bunch of hearsay. So, yeah, who knows? We will see what happens as time passes. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.